Good evening and welcome to Poland Daily. I'm Konrad Gorlinski and this is the news. Serbian President Aleksandar Vucic has strongly criticized Australia's handling of tennis superstar Novak Djokovic's case after an Australian federal court upheld a government decision to cancel his visa on the grounds that his decision not to be vaccinated against COVID-19 posed a risk to the country. Vucic told reporters outside a polling station that Djokovic was subjected not only to intellectual but also physical torture by Australian authorities. He deplored the political decision and blamed Australia for lacking clarity in vaccination requirements and exemptions, saying it was very easy for the Australian authorities to say from the very beginning that only the vaccinated, the inoculated people could enter.
Razgovarao sam malo pre sa Novakom Djokovicem, dakle posle odluke.
I talked to Novak Djokovic a bit ago after the decision. I encouraged him and I told him that I can't wait to see him in Serbia, that he gets back to his country, gets back to where he is always welcome. And the ones who think they showed how they stick to their principles have only shown that they have never had any in the first place. You've been maltreating the best tennis player in the world for 10 to 11 days, only to hand him a decision on the 11th you knew you'd be handing him on the first day anyway. Djokovic had been granted a visa to enter Australia with a COVID-19 infection on December 16th, providing the basis for a medical exemption from Australia's requirements that all visitors be vaccinated. The exemption was organized through Tennis Australia. Djokovic, the world's top men's player, was first detained by immigration authorities on January 6th, ordered released by a court on January 10th, and then detained again on Saturday, January 15th. I think that the court decision is scandalous. I'm disappointed. I think it demonstrates how the rule of law is functioning, or better to say, not functioning in some other countries. I find it unbelievable we have two completely contradictory court decisions within the span of only a few days. After 11 days of physical and psychological harassment of Djokovic, as the Serbian Prime Minister, I'm not happy, but one should not be too emotional. In any case, I can't wait to see Novak Djokovic in our own country, in Serbia. The Serbian player boarded an Emirates flight bound from Melbourne to Dubai on Sunday evening, just hours after the ruling. And a project to expand parts of the Suez Canal is expected to be completed after 2 years of work in July 2023. The new infrastructure is supposed to help clear the bottlenecks occasionally appearing en route as the number of ships passing through has increased in recent years. The plans to extend a second channel of the canal and to enlarge an existing channel were sped up after the Ever Given container ship ran aground and blocked the waterway for 6 days last year. Ships passed through the canal in convoys, and the extension of the second lane would increase capacity by 6 ships. We're expanding 40 meters eastward and have increased the depth to 72 feet from 66 feet, from 24 meters to 27 meters. This will improve ship navigation by 28% in this difficult part of the canal. Asked about shipments of Iranian fuel or oil passing through the Suez Canal despite U.S. sanctions on Iranian oil sales, the chairman of the Suez Canal Authority stated that there won't be any discrimination. There's no discrimination when it comes to the ships passing through the Suez Canal. We do not discriminate based on what country flags are on the ships. As for the Convention of Constantinople, all the ships have the freedom of passing through the Suez Canal. Iranian oil does pass through the canal. Lebanese armed group Hezbollah imported Iranian fuel last year, a move it said was aimed at addressing shortages. Shipments were routed via Syria to avoid complications with sanctions. Hundreds of Hondurans and Nicaraguans have congregated in the northern Honduran city of San Pedro Sula and begun their march towards the United States. It's the first such caravan to be formed in Central America so far this year. The caravan set off days before leftist President-elect Xiomara Castro takes office in Honduras on January 27th. She has vowed to revive the economy and combat corruption that stokes waves of mass migration to the United States. The migrants, mostly young people carrying backpacks on their shoulders and women with children, left a bus terminal in the northern city of San Pedro Sula for the border post of Corinto in an attempt to enter Guatemala, according to television footage. No one looks after us, so we were in San Pedro for almost 2 days. We received no help from the president or anything. Things won't be good even if the government changes. With this government, people have to leave in caravans because there are no jobs. I think that with the new president, the government will stay the same. Television footage showed large groups of about 1,000 people on the march, and others who intend to follow the same route continue to arrive at the bus terminal in San Pedro Sula. Guatemala's Migration Institute said Honduran authorities had informed it that there were about 110, mostly Nicaraguan migrants that were on their way to the Honduran border crossing of Corinto. Guatemalan police and military awaited them on the other side, it added. Yesterday, we left Nicaragua, and here we are, going. With God's help, everything will be okay. We have no fear because we're following leaders who know the way, and we know where we are going. So I think we've got no fear. Previously, Honduran police have formed roadblocks to prevent many such caravans from reaching the border crossing. Guatemalan security forces have also clashed with migrant groups when they tried to force their way across without documents. The first caravan of the year comes after deep economic hardship and poverty that plagues 62% of the Honduran population. The situation has been made worse by the coronavirus pandemic and 2 back-to-back hurricanes in 2020 that hobbled the economy. Finally, Kazakhstan's general prosecutor has raised the death figure from last week's unrest to 225 people, including 19 members of the security forces. Thousands of Kazakhs have also been arrested by the authorities. The figure of 225 included civilians and armed bandits killed by security forces. Serik Shalabayev, the head of criminal prosecution at the prosecutor's office, told a briefing. He did not provide an exact breakdown of the figures and said numbers could be updated later. Violent protests began in the oil-producing Central Asian state this month after a jump in fuel prices. The toll provided by Shalabayev confirmed the violence was the deadliest in the country's post-Soviet history. Shalabayev said 50,000 people joined the riots throughout the former Soviet Republic at their peak on January 5th, when crowds stormed and torched government buildings, cars, banks, and shops in several major cities. President Kassym-Jomart Tokayev turned to a Russia-led military bloc for help during the unrest and sidelined his former patron and predecessor, Nursultan Nazarbayev, by taking over the National Security Council. After complaints about beatings and torture of those detained in the aftermath, Tokayev ordered police on Saturday to avoid abuses and told prosecutors to be lenient to those who have not committed grave crimes. And thank you for joining us this evening. Please stick around for Poland Daily Weather, Poland Daily Business, and other programs. But from me, it's have a wonderful week ahead.